guys, Kurt Capra here, filling in for Scott with your daily recap. And so, starting off here, looking at the S&P, we had a pretty neutral day overall, really just closing with a narrow-bodied bar. And you can see here that what happened was nothing more than a retest of recent support and these recent higher lows. You can see I've got this ascending trend line drawn, and that's all that happened here today. Nothing more, nothing less. Just pulling back into this area and ultimately holding it for at least another day. We'll see what happens tomorrow, because this is the key level of support that really needs to hang in there, at least with regard to the S&P. Because if not, it then opens the door to a more significant correction down towards this 230 to 231 area, which, as discussed in prior videos, wouldn't be the end of the world. In fact, it would be a quote-unquote healthy correction based on the weekly chart. So we'll have to see how this plays out, but we did see the financials under pressure, right? This is a bad tick here, so just ignore that. But you know, you can see that we did close down here today. We had Goldman, which closed weak and looking like it can continue moving lower. We had JP Morgan, which was also weak after trying to move up. It came back in, and so this held this little shelf of support, but really does not look like it will continue to hold up here. It looks like it's going to need to come down and retest this prior breakout level around 87.50. So that's something we'll be paying attention to here over the next couple days. And then the question becomes, will the market hold up enough while these financials pull back to where it doesn't completely damage the overall look of the chart? Specifically, looking at the Qs, right? The Qs here actually closed up just barely, but up nonetheless, as they continue to ride the 8MA higher. And so, as I said, the question becomes, will the Qs be able to hold on to their strength while financials and others continue to correct a bit? And in doing so, if that happens, it will set the stage for another nice push higher, because if you think about it, right, financials pulling back to support, resetting themselves, should then bring in more demand, pushing price higher, pushing the market higher, and then we might start to actually see some rotation out of tech into some other areas, other names. But again, we'll have to see how this plays out. It's just something to think about as we move forward here. But healthcare was another area that was under pressure here. UNH closing down almost 1%. So we'll have to keep an eye on healthcare as it continues to get sold. It is into, right, UNH is into support here, and therefore it's a key area that, if it can hold, should keep the prior strength intact. But if not, then we could be looking at a much more significant correction. On the flip side, though, right, we talked about healthcare under pressure, we talked about financials under pressure, but on the flip side, right, Apple, really strong day, closing up just over 1% and closing above Friday's high. Right? You also have Netflix, which is right there on the horizon of potentially breaking out. So it also had a fairly strong day. I mean, nothing to write home about, but look, it was able to close strong, held its own, and is hanging right up here at the top of this range. So it definitely looks like it could get going. And looking at the weekly chart here, there would really be nothing to stop it. So it could be easily on its way to 150 and higher here over the next couple of sessions. Definitely something to keep an eye on as we move forward into this week. And then also BABA. Let me go back to the daily here. You can see BABA closed strong above 105 and also above 106. So this is finally not just waking up, right, but staying awake, for lack of a better term, right? Because as we know, this is one that has been fairly volatile. Every time it looks like it's getting ready to make a move, it does the opposite. But prior to doing the opposite, it does just enough to get you involved, right? Now, finally, it looks to be taking a more decisive direction as it pushes up towards this 110 area, and what I think will be beyond, right? I think it will break through 110 and continue to move higher here now as it will clear this prior high from the later part of 2016. Right. So again, we'll have to see how this all plays out. We'll have to see where things are opening tomorrow, as that may give some clues as to, do we get a more significant correction if we're breaking under those key support levels in the S&P and our financials continuing to stay weak, or is it going to be more of a neutral open where we continue to just chop around as things are trying to just feel their way out here? We've got so much disconnect and uncertainty that, it's being reflected in the charts, and so until that uncertainty can resolve itself, you have to be cautious. You have to be more patient and disciplined. And so that's what we'll do. All right. So hope you guys had a great trading day, and we will talk to you tomorrow.